Hello and welcome to the show. You know, you're in for an exciting treat today because I have a wonderful guest today who's going to really help you to unleash the CEO inside of you. She's going to help you to move from being a boss to unleashing the inner CEO. You know what? I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But let me get to her bio, which will help to explain the statement that I just made. When it comes to confronting new opportunities, delegating tasks, and packaging your genius to drive profitability, which is extremely important, Andrea Patrick should be your first call. These type of leaders take their business to the next level because they're inspired people who inspire people. If you're ready to be transformed from being a boss, she's standing by to help you unleash your inner CEO. Andrea Patrick is a seasoned entrepreneur who is known for her mastery in cultivating powerful leaders, increasing revenues, quickly identifying unprofitable ventures, which is extremely important, knowing when to pull out, and creating a seamless infrastructure to do all of the above. Whether you need your professional development to leave an amazingly unforgettable impression, or you need your business to convey clear, consistent, and attractive messaging, well, Andrea's expertise has got you covered. And I'm so honored she's here with us today. Andrea Patrick, I've listed just a few of your accolades. Tell us, first of all, before we get into all of that, who are you?
I am a spirited entrepreneur who enthusiastically likes to help other entrepreneurs find the boss in themselves. I help them put the BU in their business. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And talk about this thing. I know the CEO is an acronym. What does that CEO stand for?
It stands for constantly evolving and being open to failing forward.
Wow. Okay. So you're creating, you're just going right into it. All right. So let's get into this. When we talk about failing forward, and again, the name of the podcast is Principles for Success. When we talk about failing forward, give us some of those ways in which folks do fail forward.
Well, I've found that every mistake or misstep that we find we have in life and in business is an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And so when we think of the word fail, we're thinking that we did something wrong, that we, aren't going to be able to achieve our goals. But the truth is that typically the failure is happening when we are trying to move forward. We're trying to do something good.
Yeah.
So I believe that those failures are opportunities to get it right the next time. If you've heard of the acronym, failing is the first attempt in learning. Have you ever heard that?
I have not heard that. Okay.
So failing is the first attempt in learning. So if you mess up, the goal is to learn from that so that the next time you attempt that thing, you're not going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle of 100 no's. It takes you 100 no's to get to your yes.
Yeah.
Right? So that's 100 no's is failing to some people.
Yeah.
But to some people, 100 no's is success.
Because
you're moving forward. Yes.
Yeah.
You're being open to failing forward to get to that yes.
Wow, I love it. I guess someone who we immediately comes to mind, and we always use it as an example of failing forward, is Walt Disney.
Yes.
How he filed bankruptcy a number of times, things of that nature. And then when he got it right, boy, did he get it right.
Yeah. So many people. I saw a quote the other day, maybe yesterday, where they said something about, think about when you're going to look back at this and people are going to think you did it overnight.
Yeah.
And we don't do it overnight. We have to do those failures to get to those successes.
Yeah, man, I love it. So as we get into this, because you say a spirited individual who really helps business owners to cultivate their business. You probably hadn't always had that mindset. What put you in this particular mindset, or have you? I don't want to just assume that you haven't.
Well, no. This is one of the things that I like to teach people is we are the sum product of our influence, our experiences, our perspective, and our passions, right? We are the only ones that have those four elements, right? They're all independent of us. And so what I've learned about 30, I guess it was around 30 years old, I came to the conclusion that I'm an adult and I could do whatever I wanted to as long as I could deal with the consequences of my actions, right? And it took me going through a horrible, I shouldn't say horrible, let me just change that.
Okay.
I had to move to Kentucky.
Okay.
And I don't like Kentucky.
Okay.
Sorry for those.
And you moved to Kentucky from where?
From Texas.
Okay.
My husband had a job.
That is a transition.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings who live in Kentucky, but it was my wilderness.
Yes.
And it was in that time that I realized, you know what? You're enough, and you can do whatever you want to as long as you can deal with the consequences of your actions. And that from there was when I realized that my goal was not just to do marketing. I went to school for marketing, but my purpose, my vision was to really help other people attract the things or the people that they wanted to attract.
Yeah.
And so from there, I learned how to harness that into what I do today, because it's not just about promoting a product or promoting a service or having a vanity URL. It's about really attaching who you are to your business so that you can do life and business in harmony.
I love it.
And so it took me a little process, but that's really what came from that.
Yeah. And so when you adopted this mindset, you then, like you said, you moved it a step further and you started helping individuals and organizations begin to put in systems and infrastructure. I love that infrastructure piece because so many times when we jump into business, we have a passion for something, we have a desire to do something, but we forget that there is a business to our business.
For sure. Those are facts.
Talk about that infrastructure piece and the importance of that and some of the things that you do to help individuals.
So for me, infrastructure is really about understanding what I call a personal framework. And your personal framework is your strengths, your limitations, your desires, and your non-negotiables. Now, it takes a process to get there that I help my clients with, but once you get there, you can operate every aspect of your life and business by applying that framework on top of it. So if you think of like a box or maybe a chain link fence, if you want to, right? Each side of that fence, 4 sides, is one of the elements of your personal framework. And when you pick up that fence and put it around every aspect of your life, every decision you have to make, it makes it a lot easier for you to make the best decision for you. It helps you operate in your zone of genius, and it helps you do and be your best regardless of what happens, right?
Okay.
So if you walk into a situation and you have prepared, you've applied your personal framework, right? Even if it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to, you can walk away from that situation saying, I gave it my all. I did my best. And I think that mindset is what makes us willing to constantly evolve and be open to failing forward, because now we know we have the framework to always walk into situations as our best, to do our best.
Okay.
So regardless of the outcome, we know that we've done that. So we really don't have as many regrets or frustrations or overwhelm. So that infrastructure, that personal framework is what's holding you up. It's the 2x4s,
Yeah.
it's what's housing and keeping everything up.
It's your foundation.
It's your
basically.
foundation.
Yeah, you always have that to
You
go to and
always have
stand
that.
on.
And it helps you balance, because no matter how strong we are, we will get off kilter.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen where we forget that we're the boss. We forget we're the bomb, right? Our value will feel a little bad. That limiting belief, imposter syndrome is still going to creep in. But when we have that personal framework established, we always have something to go back to and remind ourselves, wait a minute, that didn't work out because I wasn't operating in my strength. I didn't provide the boundaries that were necessary because of my limitations.
Okay.
I wasn't keeping my desire in focus. I wasn't really staying true. So that's why I'm feeling this way. Let me get myself back in my framework.
Okay. So how does this differ from the business plan that we may have created for our business? How does it differ?
Well, your business plan is from your head. Okay. That's what someone tells you have to do. Right. You need to have so much money. You need to have done this type of research. You need to know who your niche is and all of those things. And all of those things are great. But your personal framework is, how are you going to interact? What is your communication going to be like? How are you going to navigate those narratives that stay true to who you are? How are you going to communicate with people who don't think like you?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. One is a head thing and one is a heart thing. And the heart thing is that framework that's going to keep you balanced, because you can't control anyone but yourself.
Yeah. So how are you as the CEO are going to operate? And again, it trickles down from the head down.
Exactly.
So again, your team's going to emulate what they see from you.
That's the culture. That's the brand culture that you're creating when you understand what it is you need and how you want your business to be represented by those who are out representing your business.
Right.
And that starts with you. So then that's where those systems and processes come in play, because as you start to onboard people, you need to have a way need to have duplicable systems that they can just plug into and not come in and have to try and create based on their understanding of you. But no, this is who we are. This is how our brand operates. Let me plug you in, right, with my onboarding process.
Okay, so let's have a transparent moment here.
Okay.
I am not the one to put the system together. I'm not the one to implement the system. I'm going to come up with the ideas, and I'm going to come up with the idea at midnight, and I'm going to call the team at 6 a.m, and I'm going to say, hey, let's do this. Is it what you do that would allow the team to be able to pull from that system to be able to put it together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Once we identify your framework, right, that is what I would call I call it your authentic blueprint.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the blueprint. When you're building something big, something, skyscraper-ish, it always starts with a blueprint.
Okay.
So your framework is going to be that. Then we're going to help you identify your personal brand, which will become the operating system that you use. That's what you're going to be leveraging everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. So once you've identified that, we get that all figured out. Now we can create those systems and processes within your business. Maybe it's a project management tool that you need to understand and plug in based on the way your mind works.
Yes.
Okay. So at night, when you have this epiphany, you can wake up and plug it into your project management system that you've created, and now your team understands that.
Okay.
But you created it, right?
Yeah.
And so then the workflow and all of that goes beyond that becomes maybe how they need to operate to execute on your plan. But you have created the system that they grab all that from.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So is this for those who are newly formed business or those who've been in business for a while? It doesn't matter where you are. Can you implement at any point the systems that you have?
You absolutely can. However,
Okay.
I have found that I call it bossing in stages.
Okay.
Okay. So it's important to identify what stage you're bossing in, but then also what stage your niche is in at that moment. Because so often when we start our businesses and we grow, we think that we are still servicing some of the same people because we know they need it.
Yeah.
I had this issue myself when I first started because I grew and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this. Everybody needs to use this information that I'm sharing with them, but they're not ready.
Right.
Because in that first stage of bossing, people are like just thinking about starting a business, or they might have just hung their shingle out, right? So their mindset is about making that money back. How can I make the money back? Then you have a stage where people have started to understand the value in letting other people help them in terms of like what marketing can do for them, and starting to really invest a little bit of money into maybe a course or going to some events to network a little bit more. But then you have that bossing stage where people get it. Like, I've been in business for a minute. I know I need some help. So it's time for me to start building a team.
Yeah.
In that stage, that's when it's easier for you to invest in your business and let go of the cost, the expense, that it's the investment, I'll say, that it's going to take. But so it's a mindset. You have to be bossing in the right stage. But yes, these systems work as soon as you get started. As soon as you even contemplate having a business, you can adopt this mindset and start creating those systems and processes. As a matter of fact, when I first started my business, I've always been this way. My husband used to say to me, honey, you need to get out and make some money. You sitting in here creating systems and processes.
Yeah.
When you going to go out and make money?
Yeah.
Well, now he's looking at me like, I'm glad you created systems and processes because now my systems and processes make me money.
Right.
Because I realized how important it was for that foundation. What I didn't want to happen, and this is for those who just are getting started, to adopt this mindset. I know the money is not necessarily there for people to help you. Maybe you don't have that to invest. But get the mindset right, because it's free. Having a mindset is free. So start developing systems that work for you, that when the influx of people come, you have the right infrastructure to handle the bandwidth that's going to happen. Otherwise, you might build up an amazing business on a house of cards, and it fails because you weren't ready for the rush. Right. You didn't have the foundation. So go ahead and start having that mindset of systems and processes and really putting the BU in your business now. Even if you can't afford to hire someone like me to help you set it up, go ahead and start thinking, well, I need this to work this way, because I don't like the stress of how it feels when it happens this way. Start identifying those things now, so that when you are able to pay, it's just that much easier to explain and verbalize what it is you need done.
I love it. I love it. And it sounds like really when you have this infrastructure in place, it gives you the confidence to keep on going.
Yes.
So even if you keep getting no's, you know that it's just a matter of time before you get the yes. Because you've got a system, you've got an infrastructure built in place, and it's all part of it. You build in the no's, actually, knowing that that's going to be part of it.
Absolutely. And you realize that you're enough. So the first part of what I work with people on is identifying their value and understanding. I when I do my speaking engagements, I always say, I tell the ladies, hey, listen, we all come to our businesses and our relationships with baggage. Now, you can have a hobo bag if you want to, but my suggestion is that you look in your bag, your hobo bag, and you pull out everything that's in there and look at it intentionally. Who gave me this?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my auntie. She told me I smack. I need to stop smacking.
Yeah.
So that's why that gets on my nerves so much. Or, oh, this limiting belief right here was because somebody told me I couldn't do it. So take those things out of the hobo bag. Start identifying where your strengths are, where your limitations are, what your non-negotiables are, what your desires really are, and repack your bag with that stuff. And now you have a Louis Vuitton, honey. You got a luxury bag that you can carry around and be proud of,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right? You can show it off because it's luxury. It took you had to pay a lot for that bag.
Yeah.
So when you are walking around with that, how much more proud and how much more confidence are you going to have than when you were walking around with that hobo bag?
Yeah.
You know.
I got it. I like it. So who would you say is your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone at this point who maybe has been in business for a minute and they've had some success. They can make money, right? But they want to move out of their way. They want to stop working in their business and work on their business. And so that means being able to clearly communicate to a team what their vision is. It means being able to clearly identify who you need on your team.
Yeah.
And it means actually taking that method to the madness that you've been working with for so long and cleaning it up and creating really clear systems and processes that will help.
Okay. Is there a particular industry that you found works best for the systems and infrastructure that you bring?
I think that service-based businesses are always going to be the easier to work with because you're dealing with the person.
Yeah.
I think of one of my clients who sold Avocare, and she would come to our networking meetings at the chamber, and you could tell that she was just like, my identity is in this product. And I opened it up and gave her a free consultation, and I just simply said, Avocare is just a tool in your toolbox. People are coming to you. So you have to decide how you want to show up. And then you can pull that tool out, the Avocare tool out when it's necessary. But really your health and wellness, and you know what they need. You know what their body needs. So the education. So for me, the product is a lot harder to get people to wrap their mind around the fact that it's not the product people are buying, it's you.
Yeah.
Because everybody, you can buy health and wellness products in every CVS, in every grocery store. So it's not that.
Right.
Right? It's you.
Yeah.
So really, people who are creating a service or providing a service, this is a better industry.
Yeah. What is that whole saying? People buy from people who they know, like, and trust.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they want to know, how would that go? I want to know that you care before I care what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. We can just swap quotes all day.
I know. Just put a big quotation mark above my head.
So as we get ready to land the plane, and we look across the landscape and we see our current economic state, I guess there's opportunity. And many times, I guess, in a recession, there are those who say that there is great opportunity in a recession. Should we find ourselves in one? Some people say we're already there. But what are your thoughts regarding that?
Well, I think we're in what do they call it? The Great Resignation is what they're talking about now.
Yeah.
There's definitely opportunity for people to take what they consider just a passion and turn it into a vision, an actual job, actual business.
Yeah.
But it will take them identifying how they connect to that. Because like I said, people want to know you, right? They want to understand how you relate to their issue. It's not about the how so much. People want to know how. They want to know how to fix the problem. But they also want to know, why do you want to help? Why are you the one to help?
Yeah.
What do you know that I don't know? And how can I relate to your situation? And so in doing that, it's important to do this infrastructure work that I'm talking about, because you have to meet people where they are. So my suggestion is, if you have a passion, if you have something that you really enjoy doing and you want to turn it into a business, now is the great time to do that, because it could be a side hustle, until, as a matter of fact, it's funny you asked me this question, because I've literally said in the last day to 3 different people, start small. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to quit your job to go do it. It can start off as a side hustle. I have a pastor in my family, and I was like, Have a Bible study in your living room on Sunday morning. If someone asks you where you're pastoring, just say, oh, well, my wife and I are just hosting a Bible study on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then you'll have 10 or 15 people show up at your house for Bible study. Now it's time for you to move to a hotel space.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's like it can start off small, but now is a great time.
Yeah. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great.
There it is.
There's
Another quote.
We've been doing some reading there, haven't we? We've talked a number of times about the infrastructure and things that need to be in place. Give us maybe 3 examples of the infrastructure that you can help and a service-based business to put in place.
For one, I can help you create that framework that you need. That's important to have there. Next, we talk about how to leverage who you are across platforms, because when you think about marketing, for instance, we have moved from more traditional marketing to digital marketing.
Yeah.
So if you are familiar with going into a networking space, going into an event and passing out business cards and chatting it up with everybody in the room, now that's done digitally.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to showcase who you are when your mouth can't. So
I like it.
that is another way where this framework can be applied. You can leverage who you are to evoke emotion with your images. Make sure that your website is really speaking the message that you needed to speak, so it's tacky and people will stay on it. So that's another way. And then also you can talk about just relationships in general, managing those boundaries and those expectations. That is another way where this infrastructure is going to help, because so often we get in situations where, you know, you didn't communicate very well at the beginning of your business relationship. And now you find at the end, people aren't paying like they should, or they're not giving you what they said they were going to give you. But because you didn't manage expectations at the beginning and set those boundaries at the beginning, you're running into some hardships. So this infrastructure shows you what those boundaries are. It helps you teach people how to treat you.
Wow. And we do indeed do that. One way or the other, you teach people how to treat you. All right, as we get ready to close, principles for success. If you would just share maybe a couple of principles that you feel has attributed to your success.
I would say definitely being open to the failure.
Okay.
That was one that I learned a little bit late.
Yeah.
Because I like stuff to be right. And I didn't want to start it. I didn't want to launch it until it was right.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Perfect. Done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
That is something that I've learned. A great principle. Another principle I would say is keep growing, keep learning, evolve. Yeah. Business is not stagnant. And I think the last one I would say is life and business run congruently. They are not linear activities. And so you definitely need to understand how to put the be you, how to be yourself in every situation, but definitely in your business.
And I love it. Andrea Patrick, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you know what? I hope you have taken some value from this conversation with Andrea. She has said so much, and I really want you to be sure to check out her website, get information on her, follow her on all social media platforms, because not only does she share information like she shared today, she takes it even beyond that when you follow her on social media. So be sure to check out her social media platform.
Before you go, Chris, I do have a program. It's Project CEO, and I'll leave you the link so that you can share that. But it is a comprehensive program that takes you from bossing to being a CEO and leveraging who you are across platforms. So everything that I talked about today, you can learn on your own in your own time, but it is a group setting. We do trainings each week, so you don't have to do it by yourself. You be a part of a community, but it's definitely a way to get all this information on your own time.
I love it. And we're going to have the link on our website. That's chrishowellonline.com. Be sure to check that out so you can download the information there. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Until the next time, take care.